Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a story that challenges everything we think we know about family, trust, and the intoxicating allure of money. It's a narrative that forces us to look in the mirror and ask, who would truly stand by us when everything falls apart? And who is only there for what they can gain? Imagine sacrificing years of your life, toiling in a foreign land, pouring your sweat and blood into building a future for your loved ones back home. You send money, you build dreams, you hold on to the hope that one day you'll return to the embrace of a grateful, loving family. But what if that dream turns out to be a mirage? What if the very people you've worked so hard for are merely shadows? Their affection as fleeting as the last banknote you sent. This is the unsettling reality that Edward, a Nigerian man living in the UK, found himself contemplating. For years, he had been the dutiful son, the generous brother, the devoted husband. His story isn't just about financial betrayal, it's a searing exploration of human nature, the fragility of trust, and the profound wisdom that often emerges from the deepest valleys of despair. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll not only have heard a powerful tale, but you'll also gain insights into how to safeguard your own relationships and resources against similar heartbreaks. Edward's journey began like so many ambitious young Africans who leave their homelands for the promise of opportunity abroad. The UK, for him, wasn't a land of immediate luxury. It was a grueling battlefield where he fought tooth and nail, long hours, harsh weather, the loneliness of being thousands of miles away from everything familiar. These were the sacrifices he made. He wasn't just working, he was investing. Investing in a vision. A beautiful mansion for his wife, Sarah, a thriving supermarket business they would jointly own, and most importantly, the comfort and care of his aged mother, Mama Grace. Every single month, a significant portion of Edward's hard-earned money flowed back to Nigeria. To his elder brother, Mark, went the funds for the mansion's construction. "Brother, don't worry," Mark would assure him over crackling phone lines. "I've done everything just as you said. Mama is fine. The house is coming up well." To Sarah, his wife, went the capital for the supermarket, a business she was supposedly managing with complete trustworthiness. And for Mama Grace, Mark received additional funds for her food, medicine, and general upkeep. Edward was happy. He felt like a pillar, a provider, shaping a secure future from afar. His life, he believed, was finally falling into place. But then, a quiet evening alone in his luxurious UK apartment, scrolling through WhatsApp photos, a chilling question dropped into his heart. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was a whisper, a persistent doubt that refused to be silenced. All these years. Do they really love me? Or do they just love the money I send? This isn't just Edward's question. It's a universal anxiety for anyone who supports family from a distance. The financial contributions become a measure, a proxy for affection, and sometimes the only reason for connection. It's a heavy burden, carrying the hopes and expectations of an entire family, often without ever truly knowing if that love is unconditional. Edward's plan to invest further in real estate only amplified this concern. Should he? Could he really trust them with more? After many sleepless nights wrestling with this profound uncertainty, Edward made a monumental decision. He would return to Nigeria not as the triumphant rich man with luggage and big plans, but as a deportee. No grand announcement, no fanfare, no hint of his true financial standing. He wanted to strip away the veneer of wealth and see, with his own eyes, how his family would treat him if they believed he had nothing left. It was a risky, almost theatrical move, a test of love, loyalty, and true character. And so, Edward landed in Nigeria. Dressed simply, looking tired and worn, dragging an old travel bag, he made his way directly to his brother Mark's house. The initial encounter was a masterclass in awkward revelations. Mark's shock, his feigned surprise at Edward's unannounced return, spoke volumes even before a single word of the deception was uttered. "You didn't tell me you were coming back," Mark stammered, a question hanging in the air that wasn't about concern, but control. As Edward stepped into Mark's big, beautiful mansion, a place sparkling with expensive tiles and grand furniture, a sharp, bitter irony must have twisted in his gut. This was his dream, his sweat, his money that had built this edifice. Yet here he was, a guest, observing in silence. This moment encapsulates a crucial lesson in financial management and trust. Never ever invest significant capital, especially in real estate, without proper documentation and legal ownership. Edward's blind trust in his brother, while emotionally understandable, was a monumental financial oversight. He handed over his power, his control, and ultimately his claim, simply on the strength of blood ties. That night, as Edward observed, Mark's true character began to unravel. Pacing on the balcony, muttering to himself, Mark's internal monologue was a stark confession of his greed and fear. "Edward, you shouldn't have come back. I won't allow you to destroy what I built. Morning and night, I worked hard to make this mansion mine. This isn't just a character flaw, it's a deep-seated pathology." Mark hadn't just managed the money, he had appropriated the dream. The mansion, which was supposed to be a symbol of family legacy, had become a monument to one brother's betrayal. Edward, listening from the shadows, his quiet inquiry, "My brother, why are you worried like this?" must have felt like a dagger to Mark's conscience, if he still had one. The ensuing conversation on the balcony was the true crucible of Edward's test. Edward's calm, heavy confession of being framed, deported, and stripped of everything was met with Mark's stunned silence. It was a silence not of sympathy, but of calculation. The true nature of Mark's love was instantly revealed. It was transactional, dependent solely on Edward's ability to provide. When Mark finally spoke, his question was accusatory, not empathetic. "You mean you came back with nothing?" This is a defining moment, laying bare the profound disconnect between Edward's sacrifice and Mark's self-serving calculus. Edward's heartbroken query about the house I asked you to build was met with explosive rage. "Which house are you talking about? Am I your servant?" Mark's words, "I don't owe you anything, Edward," were a brutal severing of any familial bond, a public declaration of financial theft, masked by fabricated indignation. This exchange is a harrowing illustration of financial abuse within families. It highlights the devastating consequences of unchecked greed, particularly when it targets those who are most vulnerable due to trust and distance. Mark felt entitled to Edward's wealth, transforming Edward's generosity into a perceived obligation and ultimately into a right. He had rewritten the narrative in his own mind, justifying his betrayal by claiming he worked hard for the mansion, conveniently omitting whose money facilitated that work. Edward's whispered lament. "So this is it? This is what my love, my trust, and my sacrifice brought me," resonates with countless individuals who have been exploited by those they held dearest. It's a moment of profound disillusionment. Edward had sought love, but found war, not of fists, but of broken promises and shattered trust. His heavy steps away from that balcony weren't just a retreat, they were the first steps on a path of painful clarity. The following day, the journey to their village to see Mama Grace was a silent, tension-filled affair. The air in the car was thick with unspoken betrayal. Mama Grace, their aged mother, greeted them with the innocent joy of a parent seeing her son's return. Her smile was a stark contrast to the emotional battlefield her children were creating. Edward, unable to contain his pain, broke the silence under the mango tree, recounting his suffering and Mark's betrayal. Mama Grace's confusion was quickly replaced by a heartbreaking choice. When Edward revealed he was deported and came back with nothing, Her immediate advice wasn't to confront Mark or demand justice. It was a pragmatic, almost fearful, "My son, I know it hurts, but listen to me. When you go back to the UK, you can make money again. Don't worry." This response, while seemingly well-intentioned, revealed a tragic truth about the mother's own priorities and fears. She was caught between two sons, but her survival instinct, her dependence on her children in old age, pushed her towards the one who currently possessed the means. Edward's desperate plea, "Mama, I can't go back. I told you I was deported. I came back with nothing," was met with the crushing words, "Edward, go back to your wife. Leave this house for your brother. He is your elder brother. You are still young. You can still build another house." This scene is a poignant commentary on the difficult choices faced by vulnerable elders. While Edward had indeed sent money for her upkeep, Mark was the one physically present, in control of the finances Edward had sent. Mama Grace, perhaps fearing abandonment or a loss of support from Mark, chose the path of least resistance, the path that promised immediate, tangible security. It was a choice born of fear, not necessarily malice, but devastating nonetheless for Edward. His mother, the one person he believed would unconditionally stand by him, had abandoned him in his perceived moment of weakness. The uncles, Amos and Chris, later convened a family meeting, an attempt to uphold tradition and mediate the dispute. But their judgment mirrored the mother's pragmatism, if not her fear. Mark's confident demand, "Where is the document that shows the mansion is yours?" highlighted the critical flaw in Edward's trust. No documentation, no ownership, even if it's your money. Uncle Chris's words were a cold, hard dose of reality, a legal truth overriding familial sentiment. This segment provides a vital financial lesson for anyone supporting family abroad. Document everything. Whether it's a simple receipt, a written agreement, or formal land papers, legal proof is paramount. Without it, even the most profound act of trust can be legally invalidated. Edward's reliance solely on trust was a painful, expensive error. The uncles, traditional arbitrators, ultimately sided with legal practicality and the present power dynamic, recognizing that an Edward with nothing held no leverage. Mark's triumphant exit, clapping and shouting, "Thank you, at least someone is talking sense," was the final humiliating nail in Edward's coffin of familial trust. As Edward returned to the city, his hope crushed, he heard Mark's wife's cruel words. "What is your brother still doing here? Tell him to go back to his wife. I'm not ready to feed another grown man in this house." These words, delivered with chilling indifference, underscored the complete lack of empathy within Mark's household. The next morning, Mark, with a straight face, evicted him. Edward's parting words, "I hope you sleep well in this house, Mark, and I hope you always remember. The foundation of this home is built on betrayal. Karma is real." Were not a curse, but a prophetic echo of the painful truth Mark had yet to learn. Then came the meeting with Sarah, Edward's wife. This was perhaps the most brutal betrayal of all. He had envisioned a loving reunion, a sanctuary from the storm. Instead, he faced a cold, blank stare. Sarah's initial question, "Why didn't you tell me you were coming back?" was less about concern and more about the disruption of her plans. When Edward confessed his deportation and destitution, her reaction was not sympathy, but raw anger. "After so many years, you came back with nothing. You have the guts to show yourself here? You were supposed to return as a man with money. So who exactly do you expect to feed you now?" This moment is a stark reflection of how financial dependency can warp relationships. Sarah saw Edward not as her husband, but as a source of income, a future provider. His perceived failure meant her perceived failure. Her accusations, "You wasted all your money on your family, look at you now," a man who couldn't even secure his own future, were laced with disdain. Her mocking smile, suggesting a drink to celebrate his failure, was the ultimate insult. The joint supermarket business Edward had funded was conveniently forgotten by Sarah. She claimed all the credit, all the ownership, and all the profits. This is a common pattern in financially asymmetric relationships, where the contributing partner is stripped of their agency and contributions once the financial flow stops. The emotional toll on Edward must have been immense. To be abandoned by your own wife, the mother of your child, because you are perceived to be broke, is a trauma that cuts deeper than any financial loss. The most heartbreaking detail in this scene is the appearance of their 9-year-old daughter, running towards Edward crying, "Daddy," only to be cruelly stopped by Sarah. "Go back inside. You've lived without a father all these years. You don't need him now." This single act demonstrates the absolute extent of Sarah's cruelty, sacrificing her daughter's emotional well-being for her own bitterness and greed. It's a profound violation of the sanctity of family. Edward's world truly collapsed in that moment. He walked away, tears streaming, his small bag now heavier than the weight of his shattered dreams. Homeless, rejected by his entire family, Edward found himself walking aimlessly, his heart feeling heavier than the world itself. The questions that had plagued him in the UK returned with a vengeance. Was I wrong to trust them? Was I wrong to believe blood would stand by me? It's a painful interrogation that many experience when faced with such profound betrayal. Then, a flicker of light in the darkness. A gateman needed urgent sign. For a man who had sent millions across the ocean, to consider such a humble position was a testament to his desperation, but also his resilience. He wasn't giving up. He was just hitting reset. Taking the gateman job was a radical act of humility, a symbolic shedding of his former identity as the wealthy benefactor. As Edward sat alone in the tiny gatehouse, staring at bare walls, his mind drifted to Mark, luxuriating in his mansion, and Sarah comfortably overseeing their supermarket. The pain was deep, but it crystallized his understanding. "This is why I came back like this," he thought. "I wanted to see the truth. Now I know, when there is no money, there is no love." This hard-won realization, while agonizing, became the fertile ground for a new fire to burn within him. The fire of a man who had lost everything but was not done yet. It's a chilling commentary on human nature that it often takes such a profound loss to reveal the true character of those around us. This point is powerfully illustrated by a common proverb: "When money speaks, the truth is silent." Edward's test, harsh as it was, became his ultimate truth detector. A month passed, filled with the quiet, lonely existence of a gateman. Then, a chance encounter on the street. William, an old friend from years ago. William's shock at seeing Edward in a uniform, his genuine concern, was a stark contrast to the reactions Edward had grown accustomed to. When Edward confessed his deportation, William's jaw dropped. But unlike Edward's family, William's response was one of immediate, unconditional kindness. "Edward, you don't deserve this. I can never forget what you did for me and my family." William reminded Edward of a forgotten act of generosity. Years ago, when William couldn't pay his wife's hospital bill after a C-section, Edward, without question, had sent the full amount from the UK. "You saved my wife's life, Edward. You gave me hope when I had nothing." This moment is a powerful testament to the ripple effect of generosity and the unexpected places where true support can be found. While blood ties had failed Edward, the forgotten seed of kindness he had sown years ago blossomed into an act of profound loyalty. William's offer, "You will not sleep in a gatehouse again. You can stay in my house and go to work from there," was the first genuine warmth Edward had experienced since his return. William and his wife, Rita, welcomed Edward into their modest 2-bedroom apartment like family. Rita, upon learning he was the benefactor who had saved her life, declared, "You may have forgotten, but we will never forget what you did for us. You gave us joy when we could have lost everything. You will always have a place in this home." This scene highlights a vital truth. Gratitude and genuine human connection often thrive outside the transactional world of immediate family expectations. Edward, who had been deemed useless by his own, found profound value in belonging with people he had helped years ago. As Edward recounted the full story of his family's betrayal, William's fists clenched. Why? Why would a family abandon their own like that? After all the sacrifices you made for them, after all the love you gave, how can people be so wicked? William's indignation was Edward's validation. I thought they loved me, Edward confessed, but I see now they only loved what I could give them. William's firm hand on Edward's shoulder, his declaration, listen to me. You are not finished. I don't care what they've done. You will rise again, and when you do, every single one of them will know what they lost. It was not just comfort. It was a prophecy, igniting a small but resolute flicker of hope in Edward's heavy heart. This friendship became the true foundation for Edward's comeback. It underlines the importance of choosing your family based on character, not just biology. Meanwhile, back in Mark's world, the illusion of success began to crumble. His love for showing off, his lavish parties, the constant display of wealth. These were not just frivolous habits. They were a beacon, attracting danger. His ostentatious lifestyle, built on ill-gotten gains, made him a target. One fateful evening, as he drove home from a luxury club, the dark shadow of karma descended in the form of kidnappers. Mark's wife, desperate to save him, began selling everything. The shiny cars, the expensive jewelry, every cent from their bank accounts. Even Mark's thriving business, the very enterprise built with Edward's money, was liquidated. And when it still wasn't enough, she took a huge loan, plunging them deep into debt, using the mansion itself as collateral. This rapid stripping away of their lavish life is a vivid illustration of the precariousness of unearned wealth. When the source of true value, Edward's labor and foresight, was removed, the entire structure collapsed. After 7 terrifying days, Mark was released, weak and pale, dumped on a deserted road. He returned home to an empty compound. No cars, no parties, no business. Just the cold walls of a mansion now burdened by debt. The taste of luxury was gone, replaced by the bitter tang of loss. For the first time since his betrayal of Edward, Mark felt the true weight of consequences. This segment serves as a powerful cautionary tale against the vanity of material possessions and the dangers of living a life built on false pretenses. True wealth isn't just about what you possess, it's about how you acquired it and the values you uphold. But his downfall was far from over. The mansion, once a symbol of his pride, became a heavy burden. Without a business or steady income, the bills piled up and creditors began to circle. Mark's wife, who had enabled his lavish lifestyle, now urged him to sell. "No," Mark declared, "this house is my pride, my image. If I lose it, I lose everything." This refusal to acknowledge reality, this clinging to a false image, prevented him from making a rational decision. Pride, in this case, became the chains that dragged him further down. The inevitable arrived in the form of 2 black SUVs, the bank. The mansion, the very symbol of his betrayal, was foreclosed. Mark stood in the driveway, frozen, as men in uniform changed the locks and sealed the property. "Not anymore, sir," an official stated coldly. "Your wife failed to repay the loan. The property now belongs to the bank." With only a few bags, Mark and his family were cast out, facing the harsh realities of life in a cramped slum room. The man who had once owned a mansion now queued for public water, dodging creditors. His false success had evaporated, leaving him with nothing but regret. This is the poetic justice of karma. Mark's journey from the lap of stolen luxury to the depths of poverty is a stark reminder that ill-gotten gains rarely bring lasting peace or prosperity. His obsession with image, his refusal to humbly rebuild, ultimately cost him everything. It serves as a powerful moral lesson. Integrity and hard work build sustainable success, while greed and deceit lead to ruin. Across the city, Edward was living a different reality. He called William and Rita into their small living room, his face calm, but his eyes holding a new resolve. "There's something I've been hiding from you," he began. "I was never deported." William blinked. "What do you mean?" Edward's voice was steady as he unveiled the truth of his test. "I wanted to know if I returned broke, would they still love me or only the money I send?" He recounted the betrayals of his wife, brother, mother, and uncles. "But you," he said, turning to William and Rita, "you took me in when you had nothing yourselves. You gave me a roof, shared your food, and treated me with respect. You showed me love without asking for anything in return." This revelation is the climax of Edward's emotional journey. It confirms the profound wisdom he gained through suffering. His test, while painful, had delivered invaluable clarity. It showed him that true loyalty and love exist, but sometimes not within the expected circles. His decision to entrust his burgeoning real estate company to William and Rita was not merely an act of gratitude. It was a shrewd business decision rooted in character. "I want to build something big," he declared, "and I want to build it with people whose hearts are pure." Months passed, and Edward's vision materialized. 2 grand mansions were built, one for himself and one for William and Rita, a tangible symbol of gratitude for their selfless kindness. William's speechless awe, "Brother, this is too much," was met with Edward's profound truth. "No, it's not too much. You and your wife have done for me what my own family never did. You deserve this and more." A brand new car was another gift, and Rita's tears spoke volumes about the unexpected rewards of genuine empathy. "We never imagined kindness could be rewarded like this," she cried. Edward's response, "No, thank you. You reminded me what real love looks like," closed a significant chapter. For the first time in years, Edward felt truly at home, not in a house, but in the hearts of people who cared for him with or without money. This underscores the transformative power of authentic relationships and the profound sense of peace that comes from surrounding yourself with people of integrity. Edward's real estate company flourished, his name spreading far and wide. He became the CEO of one of Nigeria's fastest-growing estate development companies. His appearance on a live TV interview, surrounded by his bustling construction sites and with William by his side, was the ultimate public vindication. The TV host asked, "What's your secret?" Edward's calm, firm reply encapsulated the entire journey. Success is not just about money, it's about people, the people you trust, the people who stand by you when you have nothing. My journey taught me that real wealth is having the right hearts beside you. This is not just a business philosophy, it's a life philosophy, forged in the fires of betrayal and purified by genuine human connection. Meanwhile, in a cramped, dimly lit room in a slum, Mark and his wife watched the interview. Edward's face on the screen, surrounded by wealth and respect, was a cruel mirror reflecting their own destitution. "Is that not Edward?" Mark's wife trembled. "It is. It's him." The man they had deemed useless, the man they had scorned, was now a respected millionaire. Across town, in a small rented flat, Sarah, too, saw the social media posts and the TV interview. Her hand shook as she stared at the screen, the weight of her regret settling heavy in her chest. "I left him for what? I threw him away because I thought he was nothing." The bitter irony was palpable. Their shared mistake, their collective failure to see beyond Edward's perceived poverty, had cost them everything. The desperate meeting between Mark, his wife, and Sarah in Mark's small room was a scene steeped in shame. "We all made a mistake. We treated Edward like trash. And now look at him." Their discussion revolved around how to beg for forgiveness, with Mark questioning if Edward would even listen after what they did. Sarah's eyes glistened. "We have to try. I don't care how much pride we have to swallow." This newfound humility, however, was clearly motivated by Edward's success, not a genuine, independent shift in their moral compass. They were seeking restoration, but predominantly for what it could bring them. Their journey to William's mansion, the very home Edward had built for his friend, was another layer of poetic justice. William, now healthy and confident, met them at the gate. His face was calm but firm as he questioned their motives. "Where were you when he needed you the most? Where were you when he slept in a small gatehouse abandoned by the people he called family? He doesn't need your apology now." Sarah's tearful plea, "I can't live with this guilt," revealed a self-serving aspect to their remorse. They were seeking relief from their own emotional burden, not necessarily true reconciliation. William, after a long pause, agreed to arrange the meeting. Edward's luxurious office, a stark contrast to Mark's former slum room and Sarah's rented flat, was the setting for their confrontation. Mark's apology was laced with the bitterness of his own losses. "I have suffered because of it. I lost everything, the house, the business. I have nothing now." Sarah, too, offered tears and regret, but still seemed to frame it around her own pain. "I don't expect you to take me back. I only want your forgiveness." Edward listened, silent, then took a deep breath. His words were precise, unburdened by lingering anger but sharp with truth. "I was never deported. I came back looking broke and lied, to see if the love would still be there when the money was gone. You all failed me." He drove home the most painful truth. "I found love outside my family in William and his wife, when my own blood abandoned me." Edward's ultimate refusal to fully reconcile with them, despite forgiving them, was not about holding a grudge. It was about recognizing their motives. "You didn't want me when I had nothing. Now you come because I have everything. That's not love. That's greed." His decision to have security escort them out was a definitive boundary, protecting his newfound peace and hard-won wisdom. It's a difficult but necessary lesson. Sometimes the healthiest thing to do is to release toxic relationships, even when they are family, especially when their remorse is conditional on your success. The final act of Edward's story, traveling to the village to see his mother, revealed a nuanced understanding of family bonds. Despite her past betrayal, she was still his mother. His cold acknowledgement of his uncles and their desperate self-serving pleas for forgiveness merely highlighted their continued lack of genuine integrity. But with his mother, it was different. He helped her into his car, away from the manipulative influences, and later presented her with the keys to a brand new, comfortable, fully furnished home and a caregiver. Edward hugged her gently, his words carrying the weight of his journey. "Mama, I lost my family when I tested their love, but I found my peace." This is the ultimate takeaway. True family is not always the one you are born into. It's the one that stands with you when you have nothing. It's a profound lesson in discernment, resilience, and the enduring power of genuine human connection. Edward closed the chapter on betrayal, not with bitterness, but with a new understanding of love, success, and gratitude, building a life founded on true character, not just blood ties. The story of Edward, Mark, Sarah, and William teaches us invaluable lessons about life, wealth, and relationships. Here are the key takeaways for you. 1. True love versus transactional love. Money often acts as a magnifying glass, revealing the true nature of relationships. It separates those who genuinely care from those who are merely opportunists. When you're at your lowest, who is still there? Those are your true connections. 2. The peril of blind trust, especially with money. While trust is vital, especially within family, it must be balanced with prudence and accountability, particularly in financial matters. Always, always, document everything. Legal agreements, receipts, written contracts. These protect not just your assets, but potentially your relationships by providing clarity. 3. Karma is real and it has a long memory. Actions have consequences. Mark's downfall wasn't a random event. It was a direct result of his greed, his ostentatious display of ill-gotten wealth, and his moral bankruptcy. Living with integrity, even when it's difficult, lays the groundwork for lasting peace and prosperity. 4. Generosity comes back in unexpected ways. Edward's help to William years ago was a forgotten act, yet it became his lifeline when his own family abandoned him. Cultivate genuine kindness. You never know when a past act of goodwill will return to save you. 5. Family is not always blood. The biological family can sometimes be the source of the deepest wounds. True family consists of those who love you unconditionally, support you in your struggles, and celebrate your triumphs, regardless of your financial status. Sometimes, you have to choose your family. 6. Resilience in the face of adversity. Edward lost everything: his perceived wealth, his home, his marriage, and his familial support. Yet he didn't give up. He started from scratch, found unexpected allies, and rebuilt his life on a stronger, more honest foundation. Your setbacks do not define your worth. Your response to them does. 7. Financial literacy and planning are crucial. Edward's initial mistake was a lack of documentation. Mark's mistake was an unsustainable lifestyle and lack of genuine business acumen, leading to debt. Learning about financial management, protecting your assets, and building sustainable wealth is essential to avoid such pitfalls. 8. Setting boundaries is a form of self-love. Edward's ultimate decision to provide for his mother but to reject reconciliation with Mark and Sarah was a powerful act of self-preservation. You can forgive, but you don't have to forget or allow those who betrayed you back into your inner circle, especially if their motives haven't truly changed. This story reminds us that while money can build houses, it cannot build character. It can buy loyalty, but never love. And in the end, the most valuable assets we possess are not material wealth, but the integrity of our own hearts and the genuine connections we forge along the way. Thank you for watching this deep dive into Edward's powerful story. If this resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced a similar situation? What lessons did you learn? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more transformative stories, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our content. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and always value those who value you.